everyone, and welcome to a Time Shifters podcast Time Hop edition. This is Christopher, and here, as always, with my good friend and co-host, Tom.
Howdy.
How you doing, Tom?
Not too bad. We got a fun little one to talk about.
We definitely have an interesting film to talk about today. We're going to be talking about Frankie Freako from 2024. This Canadian horror comedy was written and directed by Steven Kostanski. It was written as a kind of an homage to films like Gremlins and other 1980s horror comedies. In the film, uptight workaholic Connor calls a 1-900 number to prove he can be spontaneous and fun, like his wife, Christina. This number allows the caller to speak to Frankie Freako, a weird troll-like creature, and his friends Dottie Dunko and Crunch. The beings invade Connor's home and life, drawing him into a battle against the Freak Lord President Munch. This was an interesting watch, to say the least. I wasn't sure. Well, I think I went expecting a little bit like what it was attempting to mimic.
Yeah.
Things like Gremlins or Ghoulies or even The Goonies. You know, something just sort of weird, over the top.
Yes,
and,
not nonsensical. I think they actually were fairly successful at capturing that 80s vibe about it.
I will admit, and I'll go ahead, I won't bury the lead here, I was not enamored with this film at all. No, I really didn't. I watched the film, and what I was thinking is, if this movie could be transported back to the 1980s,
yeah,
and kind of run as a double bill alongside with like Gremlins or The Goonies or that sort of film, people today would still be running around with, you know, vintage Frankie Freako t-shirts and quoting the film and everything and thinking that, oh yeah, I saw that when I was 10. I thought it was hilarious.
Yeah.
And just completely burying this film in nostalgia without giving any credit to the fact that it's not that good of a film. I think this needs to be seen by 10-year-olds in the 1980s and who will remember it fondly for their entire life and maybe even still watch it today and still watch it with that 10-year-old mindset. But me, in my 50s and in 2025, watching this, bored to death. Didn't like it whatsoever.
That's hysterical. The thing of it is I think you nailed it. I think you 100% nailed it. It does seem like something that was ripped away from the 80s, shown now. We didn't get that experience. And yes, you as an old guy aren't appreciating it for what it is. And here's the thing, because this is an 80s film made in 2024, released in 2025. But yes, the fact that it is a movie out of time, it's not going to hit the audience it needed. But I was enamored with the fact that that's actually what has happened. Like, I am appreciating it for what it wanted to be, and also kind of appreciating that it's not gonna work, unfortunately. Because yes, some of it hits a little flat. You want all of those 80s catchphrase kind of things to catch on, and this doesn't really have enough of those, or we're in too much of a we're in a dark moment in our own history, and something having light and silly and goofy like this doesn't quite hit. Maybe if we're in Canada, it'd feel better. But I had to appreciate the production value. It's beautiful. It's super colorful. It's very clear. The puppetry is fun. Some of actually the little robot creatures that the President Munch guy creates are very Puppet Master reminiscent. So it touched on a lot of things that I can appreciate from the 80s and 90s. But yeah, it's a movie out of its own time. So I was tickled even by that.
I'll admit that the first like 5-10 minutes of the film had me hopeful. When Connor was like in his office and his boss and their conversation, and it was clear that Connor he's in his own little world, you know, and he doesn't really understand what's going on around him. And there's some good little lines that I'll admit a few of them, you know, pulled some chuckles out of me and everything. And then I just feel like it fell from there.
Yeah.
It just, everything after that just fell flat for me.
You're not wrong. Not wrong in any of it, because even like you wanted those puppets, those characters, the Freakos, and they really hung on that, calling them Freakos. And I get that the movie's called Frankie Freako and all that, but calling them collectively Freakos felt like that was supposed to catch more than it does. It sounds like a term not quite right. Like you're trying too hard to use the term.
This film was designed to be a catch.
Yes.
It was designed to have catchphrases and to have characters. And I think that's maybe over-designed, because it was something, when it happens, like when something like Gremlins happens, you know, it's not necessarily designed with the intention of being the big mega hit.
Yeah.
They all can hope.
Yeah.
But it's not necessarily designed to have the toy franchise that will go along with it. It's not, no filmmaker is sitting there writing this film and going, oh man, someone's going to make a board game out of this, sort of thing. This film felt like every moment was being written. Oh, and this is what will go on the poster, and this scene is what's going to go into the video game, and this is Shabadoo. It's going to be all over T-shirts.
Yeah, I like I said, that was what kept me entertained and all that. You're not wrong on any of those fronts. It wants to be that movie. From then, the part that it misses is, or maybe it doesn't. Maybe it's doing this ironically. But as you said, in the 80s, there was no given that there was a franchise ahead or this, that, or the other thing on merchandising. Because that was all being invented literally in the moment, then and there, in the 70s and 80s. So by the time you get to this point, if you're trying to draw on that, you're trying too hard. That you've forgotten to make a good, fun film in the hopes of making these other things. But that's why I kind of feel like maybe they know that, and that's part of the vibe. I was kind of enjoying it for that. Actually, the part that disappointed me more than anything in this is that need to create that extraterrestrial world, that place where President Munch is. Because that sequence, you could lift that whole thing out of there, and you could still have the 80s weird science, gremlins, ghoulies kind of vibe without that, because they didn't bother with backstories in the 80s for that kind of stuff. You didn't question where a Mogwai came from, or whether or not there were other ones, or where did gremlins come from. You didn't question any of that. It just was. And then I felt like that whole other world, that exposition piece, that was really shoehorned into the thing for no good reason.
This film also had, as far as the story goes, it had the plot very reminiscent of many films in the 80s where no one has any real motivation for feeling the way they do or doing the things that they do. This film just immediately decides that even though these creatures come in and destroy this guy's house, practically kill him, draw him into whatever the hell is going on, he for some reason just decides, I'm going to stand up for these guys and be their best friend and help them in their fight. I'm like, why?
Yeah.
There's no reason for it. And it's like, that's exactly the kind of stuff that goes on in the 80s. You go up and watch not just horror comedies, even dramas. Go back and watch things like St. Elmo's Fire or Flashdance or whatever. People do things for no reason whatsoever, or the motivation is so off from what response they give.
Oh, and it was hard. The harder part for me watching this one was also being in a today mindset while watching it. You're waiting for a shoe to drop in all this. Like when you meet Connor and his wife, like never have you met two people that do not belong together in any way, shape, or form. And in today's mindset, you would question, well, how did they become a couple? Where did that come from? Am I going to get any of that? And that does not fit in the 80s mindset, so they didn't do anything with it. And so I'm constantly grinding between the two different worlds in all this.
Yeah, and in today's mindset, the idea that someone's together and the best way for you guys to be together is to change the other person.
Right.
To better fit your life.
Yeah.
Which is something, go back again to a lot of the films I've already mentioned. Go back to like Grease, the big famous Grease, where the whole message of the film is, if he can't love you for who you are, change.
Right.
And that's exactly what this film, that's this film's big message here, is someone's trying to change somebody so they can love them.
Right. Yeah. No. Yeah. It's that they did capture that part.
Oh, very much.
But it makes it a little harder to watch knowing that it was made now. I do want to point out though the relationship between the Connor character and his boss. Mm-hmm. The boss, played by Adam Brooks, was killing me. I actually kind of dug him rather quite a bit.
He, like I was saying, those scenes are probably where I got the chuckles at all, is just maybe between those two.
And the fact that he was fully embracing that whole 80s concept of, oh, well, this is all happening to me, and yeah, it might as well. Because and I don't really want to give anything away, because ultimately I think it's still worth at least a watch. It was kind of fun. If you like this kind of thing, this kind of just goofy, nonsensical stuff, it's worth a viewing. And for the boss alone and the stuff that happens to him, which is part Home Alone, part any other kind of 80s film where you're gonna... The guy that doesn't... He's not on the right path. Things are gonna happen to him. It's worth it for that. I especially love the little he's trying to trick him into doing something to get him out of essentially financial fraud. Yes.
Yeah. Excuse me. I took a kind of an arrow out of your quiver here. I did read a small critique from someone on this film. A critic, Barry Hertz, called the film a cinematic smoothie made possible by tossing Gremlins, Little Monsters, The Gate, Critters, Ghoulies Go to College, Garbage Pail Kids, and a heaping scoop of Puppet Master into a blender, and then forgetting to put the lid on, so that the kitchen is painted by the confection's sloppy chunks. I think he summed it up pretty damn well there.
That's pretty accurate. I like that. I also want to give them a little shout out because it was a little thing that I just amused by. For whatever reason, I've always been a little enamored with the VW Volkswagen Beetle, and the fact that they had a pristine red Beetle for Christine to drive was just kind of like, wow, nice. That thing looks like it just rolled off the line.
Yeah, it did look nice. It is. I share your enamor with the Beetle for whatever reason.
Yeah.
If somehow a VW convertible Beetle would fall in my lap, I would not be sorry.
Right. I mean, it's a hateful vehicle. I fully understand. But damn, is it just cute? And I don't want one of the newer ones. It's gotta be classic.
No. Oh, very much.
So, but yeah, so I was at least I was at least going, ooh, that's cool.
All right, well, there you go. I think we are split on our opinions of Frankie Freako.
Yep.
If you take the chance and give this one a watch, please write to us,
Yes.
timeshifterspodcast@gmail.com, or comment on any of the social media posts when this episode airs, and let us know which side of the fence you fall, because I think I'd love to hear, where the majority land.
Go Team Freako.
So go check out Frankie Freako and come back and let us know what you think. That's going to do it for this Time Hop. We'll be back in a week with a full episode. Until then, thanks for listening, everybody. Bye.
Shabadoo.